Floating cities like Ocean Busan in South Korea and elongated cities like The Line in Saudi Arabia are examples of future city megaprojects. A futuristic city is also being planned in the United States. Marc Lore, a billionaire entrepreneur who conducts business with Walmart and Amazon, among others, wants to devote a portion of his riches to build the metropolis of the future. The project is projected to cost around $400 billion USD in total. Just picture a huge city, a city that combines the sprawl and diversity of New York, the effectiveness and connectivity of Tokyo, and the governance and sustainability of Stockholm, situated in the middle of the American desert, with futuristic infrastructure, carefully planned roads, and streets filled with automatic electric vehicles. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, we will be talking about Telosa, one of America's largest megaprojects. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Telosa is a proposed futuristic city in the United States that was revealed in September 2021 by American billionaire Marc Lore. The project's goal is to house 5 million people by 2050, with the first phase of building housing 50,000. The project's planners plan for the city to be constructed on cheap land in Appalachia or the American West Desert. The city of Telosa is a planned development that promises to not only be the city of the future, but also a totally new model for society in a similar vein to the Saudi Arabia megaproject, The Line. These planned megacities are a response to today's emerging global issues, such as overpopulation, pollution, and climate change. These future cities seek to redefine what it means to build a thriving city from the ground up, one that is intended to be sustainable and resilient for all of its inhabitants. Telosa gets its name from the ancient Greek word telos, which loosely translates to greatest purposes. Telosa is the creation of American billionaire Marc Lore, soon after he left his position as president and CEO of American retail powerhouse Walmart. Telosa was first made public in September 2001. Through his visionary project, Marc declared his audacious goal to build the planned city of Telosa, with the hope of paving the way for future generations' blueprints for a more just and sustainable future. Bjarke Ingels, a well-known Danish architect who was earlier hired by Toyota to design a more compact, intelligent future city in Japan, will be in charge of overseeing the master planning of Telosa. According to Lore, the core concept of Telosa, and the reason it is being planned in the first place, is to establish a city with the needs of the people, serving as its foundation. Cities presently house more than half of the world's population. This figure is anticipated to rise to 70% by the end of the year. As a result, cities have become important centers for education, study, and economic opportunities for millions of people. Despite the fact that cities have brought significant development to a small number of people, not everyone immediately benefits from its development. Lore and Telosa are attempting to bridge the growing wealth divide. The aim is to create a city where everyone, regardless of socioeconomic or cultural background, has equal chances for growth. To accomplish this vision of equality, at the heart of the plan is an economic system known as equalism. The idea behind this system is to create a community where the people will directly benefit from the city's growth. In this system, Telosa will own all of the city's land, while its citizens are given the freedom to build and sell homes on top of this land. Ideally, as the city grows, so will land values. These funds will then be reinvested in the city through public services, education, and healthcare, thereby fulfilling the goal of equity, in which all citizens have equal access to high-quality services. Although the final location of Telosa has not been determined, the city's creators intend to construct it on desert land in the American West, possibly in Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Arizona, or Texas. Another option is to build the city somewhere near the Appalachian area in the east. However, out of all available land in the United States, why are they constructing Telosa in the middle of the desert? One of the primary reasons for this choice is the abundance of cheap and easily accessible, undeveloped land in the American West. And with Telosa's plan to pay for improved city amenities, with rising land values, and as the city develops over time, this inexpensive land may begin to pay for itself. The land for Telosa construction may come at a relatively low price. It isn't exactly the most ideal or even the smartest idea to build a bustling metropolis in the middle of the desert. The problems that Telosa may experience in the future are clearly demonstrated by Saudi Arabia's recent construction of the line, which is already behind schedule. Despite being originally scheduled to be partly finished by 2020 and expanded upon in 2025. It turns out that building on undeveloped desert territory first necessitates the construction of operating facilities to house construction machinery and personnel in the harsh climate. The problems are high temperature, water availability, and the energy effect of building a complete city from scratch in a harsh environment. Telosa is also planned to be fully powered by renewable energy sources. Each building in the city will have photovoltaic cells installed on their roofs, while strategically placed wind turbines across the city's borders will provide additional capacity to power Telosa, making it a self-sustaining city in terms of energy generation. Telosa will develop into the most open, fair, and inclusive city in the world, with the help of the big architects and funded by private money, charity, state loans, and subsidies. On the city's website, Lore gives that description. Telosa will be as open and opportunity-rich as a U.S. city, as well as socially and environmentally conscious as a Scandinavian city. In addition, at the center of Telosa will be the city's tallest structure, the Equalism Tower, which will serve as an iconic landmark and a beacon for the city. The tower will house an observation platform, an elevated water storage system, and aeroponic farms that will provide the city with fresh produce. The Telosa layout also takes into account an urban planning and transportation system that allows residents to always travel to essential locations and services, like offices and schools, in under 15 minutes. Stores and dining establishments, as opposed to the line, which will exclusively concentrate on mass transit and be pedestrian-centric. Telosa will make use of a combination of carefully planned transit networks and autonomous electric vehicles. The city will use the superblock concept of urban planning, in which heavy traffic is concentrated on a single block, while bikes and slow-moving electric vehicles are prioritized on inner streets. This accomplishes two goals. The first is to ensure that people can easily move between blocks, and the second is to keep residential areas far away from main streets to avoid excessive noise. Telosa will be built in two stages. The first phase is expected to be finished by 2030. By this point in its development, the city could house up to 50,000 people over an area of 6 square kilometers, approximately twice the size of New York's Central Park. Once completed, the second phase of the plan intends to create the rest of the city over the next 40 years. Over 5 million people are predicted to reside within the city by this point, and with a total area of more than 120 square kilometers, Telosa will be as large as San Francisco, but with more than 6 times the population living in the same area. The overall project is anticipated to cost up to $400 billion to complete, with funding coming mostly from potential private investors and federal and state grants. In comparison, Saudi Arabia's The Line is anticipated to cost a similar $500 billion, and unlike Telosa, it is entirely funded by the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund and, by extension, the Saudi government. With Telosa's ambitious plan and vision for the future, Marc Lore and his team must overcome one of the most difficult challenges in the construction of planned cities like these: funding. It's not easy to convince the government and private investors to lend you billions of dollars to create a vision that may not be fully realized. And while Telosa pledges to be different by placing its people at the core of the city's growth, it will require a large sum of money to even begin this insane mega-project. Despite all of the rising environmental and financial hurdles, and despite the fact that no building activity has begun more than a year after the project's initial announcement, Marc Lore and his team remain hopeful and committed to create the world's most sustainable and inclusive city by 2030. Do you believe Telosa will ever build? Let us know in the comments section below. If you want to learn more about Saudi Arabia, the line that has recently begun construction, you can watch our video about it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. And don't forget to like and subscribe.